Everyone thought they knew Dean Martin's drunk act. The glass in his hand, the slurred charm, the lazy grin. It was all part of the show. But one night on live television, the mask slipped. After losing his beloved son in a tragic plane crash, Dean began to drink for real. During that broadcast, he could barely stand. The man who once made the world laugh suddenly seemed broken. When asked to share something people didn't know about him, he smiled weakly and said, "That drinking bit, yeah, that was just a gimmick." What came next silenced the audience. The smooth crooner was gone, replaced by a grieving father using alcohol to drown unbearable pain. Dean Martin, born Dino Paul Crocetti on June 7, 1917, came from almost nothing. He grew up in a cramped two-room apartment above a shoemaker's shop in Steubenville, Ohio. His parents, Italian immigrants, barely scraped by. His father cut hair for $18 a week, while his mother scrubbed floors just to keep food on the table. Dino didn't speak English until he was 5, and classmates mocked his accent so cruelly that his brother had to come to school to translate for him. By 13, he quit school entirely to earn money, delivering bootleg whiskey at night for 50 cents a day. Soon, he was running numbers for bookies, shining shoes, and working any job he could find just to survive. By 15, Dino was fighting under the name Kid Crochet in underground boxing clubs. He fought 36 matches, winning most, but breaking his nose, knuckles, and pride along the way. One brutal blow nearly killed him, and that was the end of boxing. Singing came next. At 17, he performed in smoky backroom clubs, copying the smooth style of the Mills Brothers. He earned a few dollars a night and a handful of tips, enough to keep him chasing the dream. Eventually, Cleveland bandleader Sammy Watkins hired him for $200 a week, but suggested a change. Dino Crocetti was too ethnic, too hard to sell. So, the young singer became Dean Martin. From then on, life began to change. He toured the Midwest, charmed audiences with his relaxed voice, and by the 1940s had landed his own radio show. But his biggest break came in 1946, when he met Jerry Lewis. Together, they became comedy's hottest act. Chaos and charm, the perfect balance. Their partnership made millions, filled theaters, and turned them into household names. Yet success came with cracks. By 1956, jealousy and exhaustion tore them apart. The duo split, and many believed Dean's career was over. They couldn't have been more wrong. Just months before the breakup, Dean quietly recorded "Memories Are Made of This," which soared to #1. Soon came "That's Amore," "Sway," and countless hits that cemented his image as the effortless crooner who made everything look easy. Sinatra invited him into the Rat Pack, and Dean became the symbol of cool, a man who never seemed to try too hard. On stage, he looked drunk, carefree, and untouchable. Off stage, he was precise, professional, and sober. Apple juice often replaced whiskey in his glass. The boozy act became his trademark, the wink that let the audience in on the joke. By the 1960s, Dean had conquered music, television, and film. He starred in classics like Rio Bravo and Ocean's 11, his easy charm lighting up every scene. Then came The Dean Martin Show, a TV sensation that ran for 9 seasons. NBC paid him millions and gave him full creative freedom, a rare privilege at the time. The celebrity roasts followed, where Dean's quick wit and laid-back presence made stars feel like old friends. Behind it all, he built a quiet fortune, investing in Las Vegas land that later made him millions. But beneath the glamour, Dean carried deep scars. 3 marriages, long stretches away from his children, and a son he adored more than anything, Dean Paul Martin. When Dino Jr. died in a 1987 jet crash during a storm, something inside Dean broke for good. The charm, the jokes, the easy grin, they faded. For the first time, The drink in his hand wasn't for show. He withdrew from the spotlight, turned down work, and stopped caring about fame or fortune. Even Sinatra couldn't pull him back. By the early 1990s, Dean was gravely ill with lung cancer. Doctors urged surgery, but he refused. "I'm just waiting to die," he told friends. On Christmas morning, 1995, Dean Martin passed away quietly in his Beverly Hills home at 78. The Las Vegas Strip dimmed its lights in his honor. Sinatra called him a brother. Jerry Lewis, his old partner, wept on tour, saying, "I lost my partner and best friend, the man who made me who I am." In the end, Dean Martin's life wasn't about the jokes or the booze. It was about resilience. The poor immigrant kid who once ran whiskey across the river became an icon of effortless grace. He made the world believe he was always relaxed, always in control, when in truth he had already fought through the hardest life could offer. Behind the laughter and the lazy smile stood a man of quiet strength, one who never bragged, never complained, and never lost his cool, even when his heart was breaking.